evening, everyone. 7 o'clock. Thank you for coming. Please stand for pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for just one moment. We lost our deputy treasurer this past week. I would ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes of the March 10th, 2022 regular board meeting. Every minute for front of you, both minutes.
I make the motion to accept the minutes of the March 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and supported that the minutes from the March 10th, 2022 regular board meeting be accepted, placed on file. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. You have a copy of your treasurer's report. Any comments? Questions? Being none, please place those on file. We have received the minutes from the February 2nd, 2022 public hearing, the February 2nd, 2022 regular meeting, and the March 2nd, 2022 public hearing, the March 2nd, 2022 regular meeting. All have been approved by the Planning Commission. Any comments? Members of the Planning Commission?
Meetings.
Well, we had to wait till you get back. Okay. The appeals board had no meeting. Anyone know of anything to bring before the board at this time? We are on the agenda, so. Okay, Jeff, County Commissioner, if you would please.
All right, well, this is going to be 3 times within 24 hours for Brother John, so I apologize for that. Dennis, this is twice for you within 24, actually within probably 8.
Would you go to his house for happy hour, or why
Well,
is it 3 times?
we could. Anyway, we met on the second Tuesday this month, which is unusual. It's usually a third Tuesday. The reason we met was because the equalization report, we had to get out and act on the L4024s and the L4037 forms for the tax rolls. The interesting thing for most everybody is our SEV grew at 7.62% for the last fiscal year, and our taxable value grew at 5.92%. The inflation rate that the state is using for this past calendar year is 3.3%. So there will be a heavy tax rollback. So that's not a bad thing. It's just we are growing faster than the rate of inflation, so that's what we work for, literally. I mean, spent a lot of time on economic development we've had a tremendous amount of real estate transactions in the last calendar year. I can tell you that it's been huge. Having said that, that goes from equalization. I'll touch on Rachel Nelson, the county treasurer, came before the board, and she let us know there's 15 properties that are foreclosed on for tax foreclosure this year. Of those 15, 10 are vacant properties, and with the change in the law the last couple of years, July 1st is a filing deadline for anybody that has property if they want to receive the difference from the sale price to the tax bill. So if a $100,000 piece of property is sold for $20,000 and there's a $10,000 tax bill, that $10,000 they would be able to receive, as opposed to in the old days that was not something that they could achieve. So that has changed. Personally, I agree with the concept and where it is right now. There probably needs to be still some kinks worked out, but that's what it is today. So The other thing is, Jared Henry came before us, he's the public defender. Jared Henry is the first public defender. We do a joint Manistee Benzie public defender. Jared is a rock star. Mitch Deach is here, I'm telling you. Mitch used to be the Benzie administrator, Benzie County administrator, and I'm telling you, Jared does a fantastic job. There is an increased cost to both Manistee and Benzie County. Currently, the state is living up to their commitment so we don't have any unfunded mandates, which hopefully that maintains. That's always a concern, as for sure. Let's see here. The Sheriff's Department, we agreed to go into a contract with Enterprise Fleet Management. So we're going to lease vehicles through Enterprise. And while we had the opportunity to have them on Zoom, I was planning to try and hope to get something for the airport authority. So we'll see if we can build a rapport and elevate that as well. We do have a new car rental company from Victoria Port City. They're going to have a number of vehicles, new vehicles, that are going to be rentals available at the airport, and it's something that is very much needed. We still have 2 unfilled vacancies at Central Wellness Board. The vacancies that are open, one has to be for a primary recipient of care, and the second is for a secondary recipient of care. If you know anybody that would make for a decent board member, we've been on a search for a few months now. Our strategic plan, we've been piecemealing that month to month depending on time limitations. This month we finally got into goal 3. We wordsmithed that, and the topic is education. And as we all have grown, civics generally tends to go to the state and federal level when the civics are taught, and we'd like to see something done for the local level. So the people in township, villages, and council, city, what have you, we'd like to get a little more entwined in that process so the youth has a little better understanding, and this is not something you just get up and, there's a process here. There's a duty for many of us to have to serve as no different than the board here or the board I serve on. Broadband, ongoing. We did get a feasibility study from Point. Point is a company out of Alabama. We waived the fee, as I probably reported to you folks, for the 911 addresses. So there was a feasibility study done by them. It's not something that we have in-house. It's something we discussed during a meeting. We're trying to get a non-disclosure agreement because of the work that they have isn't something that they want to have another company come in and take over that study. So it's just no work involved. It's just here. It's public information. So we're hoping to get an NDA, non-disclosure, NDA agreement with them to try to get that to where we can actually utilize that a little bit more. Understand there's another company that's going to be coming possibly looking for the same thing, Aspen. Haven't had that happen as of yet, but we'll see where that goes. Also got Point hooked up with the ISD because there's dark fiber. Dark fiber is a term for fiber that is not being utilized. So we'll see if I can go to somewhere to where it can help them with the ISD with the expense of that. It's been in the ground for almost 20 years and it's high dollar fiber not being used. You'd be amazed how much dark fiber is out there. If you've been down to the beach, you know the Hampton project is moving forward. So that's actually going to happen. Hopefully within a couple of weeks we're going to see some movement with demolition on the Gateway project as well. 911, I'm on that board as well, and put out an email this morning as I received the email from the chairman of that board, which is Jason Torrey, the undersheriff, trying to get a timeline in place so that they can be on the August ballot. So we may be having a special board meeting to get that on the August ballot as well. Figured there's 2 bites at the apple, possibly, as opposed to just having on November if something didn't happen with the renewal. They have to have a special election for next year, which is very expensive. So we're going to try to see if we can get a timeline where we can get that done. Very disappointed that that wasn't brought up prior to. We should not have to go through the special meeting process. Disappointed is an understatement. and I'll let it go with that. One other thing, just to pass on to you, I did file again. Deadline was April 19th. I am running for county commissioner again, and happy to serve the residents of the township and all the residents of the 5th district. So, with that, any questions?
I have one regarding the public defender, and I'm kind of wondering what constitutes a big enough job. Do we have certain criteria that we hold him to, or what makes him special?
He gets all the information into the state in an extremely short time frame. And the state actually looks to Jared on many things for them to help educate other departments. Mitch, would you agree with that? Again, Mitch is was a heck of a lot closer in his former position than what I am as a member of a committee. But the feedback that we get on Jared is fantastic, and that's from coming out of Nancy. And there's a lot of head nodding going on over there, just so you pay attention to him. Anything else? Easy group. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Zoning administrator, Karen, anything going on in your office?
Yes, for March, there were 5 zoning permits issued, 12 requests for construction permits, and 1 reinspection fee paid. There were 2 new complaints, a noise complaint for snow removal in the middle of the night at Meyer, a junk light complaint at a property on Olson Road, both have been addressed. The building department is getting busy here with issuing permits. The contractor for Culver's is currently working on completing the demolition permit application. I've also been assisting the engineers on this project with conversations with the City of Manistee Public Works Department for the water hookup. The Planning Commission will be holding a public hearing on May 4th to hear comments on a special use application and site plan to construct a garage with family quarters, and there will be an appeal request for the month of May for a land use variance to construct a small engine repair shop with living quarters. And that's it.
Questions? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Liquor inspector Rick Klaus has sent forward a message for the month of March. There were no violations. As of April 1st, Instant Launch was supposed to reopen. We will revisit them this month. That's from Rick Klaus. Liquor inspector. Township updates. The only thing that I have is I attended a Zoom meeting on the 7th about the construction of the roundabout up here on the corner of 22 and 31. That's to begin the 12th of July and scheduled to be completed October 3rd. It is spring. A burn permit is required for any outdoor burning. We've placed magnets in the back for the website as well as the phone number for DNR permits. We do not issue them from our fire department, we go through the state. Anything else as far as what's going on? Do you have an election coming up, correct?
We have an election May 3rd. Just under 2 weeks. But our election, the only participants from the township are the people who live in the Nakama School District.
You guys got anything? Okay, moving on. Mitch, you're up.
You mind if I pass out? I just brought a little handout quickly. I know many of you, not everyone. My name is Mitch Deich. I am the interim executive director for the Manistee Recreation Association. Recently retired, as Commissioner Don said, as the Benton County Administrator. Guys, so nice to see you again. It's been a long time. Thank you for just a few minutes of your time. I really appreciate it. The MRA, some kind of like really historical moments I think we're going through right now. We are at our 80th anniversary for the MRA. It was founded in 1942 by a group of high school students who wanted to expand recreational opportunities in the greater Manistee area. So quite a momentous occasion for us this 80th year. Our mission is to provide a balance of recreational activities for people of all ages and abilities. We strive to meet the diverse interests of all community members in the greater Manistee area while emphasizing healthy habits, respect, self-importance, and fun. I'm just coming from our first Thursday soccer game of the year. I was astonishingly pleased that Duffy wasn't freezingly cold as it normally is in April. You've probably all been there in April with the various kids, and we know what it feels like. Pretty nice out there today. We have 3 games going on this afternoon. The program has 2 full-time employees. The first one is the executive director, and the second one is the program manager. Our budget is about $143,000. This year, right now, we're running about a $2,897 deficit in our budget, which we believe we're going to make up through reduced expenditures and various other things. I am exceedingly proud to state today that we have hired Dursa Marshall to be the new executive director for the MRA. Dursa previously, some of you may have known her, she was the she was the Health Connection manager at the Munson Hospital for 20 years, 19 and a half years. So, she has a degree in recreational leadership and management at Fair State University. She has organizational skills that I know I'll never have, and we are really looking forward to Dursa coming on board. Her first date is Friday, April 29th, 2022. So very excited about Dursa coming on board. This past year, we had 4 counties participate in MRA programs and events. We had Manistee County, obviously. Vacancies County, we had kids coming down to the Townshippville area to play baseball. Lake County, we had kids coming all the way from Irons to play baseball. There was 5 or 6 kids. I don't know how far of a drive that is, but it's got to be 45 minutes or 40 to 45 minutes to play baseball. And Mason County, all the Mason County participants were from Grant Township, which they're closer to Manistee than they are going to the Ludington area anyways. I mean, they're like 4 to 5 minutes. And many of those young adults are in the MATS school district as well. Total participation in 2021 was 507, which equated to 617 registrations. So one participation is, let's say Denny's grandson is playing. He's one participation, but he plays football, basketball, and Little League. That would be 3 registrations. So that's what accounts for the different numbers. These numbers are down considerably to where we were at in 2019. Makes sense. For the past 2 years, we've needed to cancel programs because we couldn't comply with the CDC guidelines for safe distance. I hope to goodness that we're all behind it. I'd love to be in this room without having a mask on. I'm sure we all do. So very, very excited about our future. Manistee Township had 64 participants. This was for 2021. 64 participants, which equated to 82 registrations. In addition to that, we had 3 scholarships. One of the things that we pride ourselves on the MRA is that any individual who is unable to pay for it, whether it's Little League or whatever it is, they receive a 100% scholarship, which I think is really, really important to me. In my previous life as a city manager, county administrator, we made people go through extreme measures to be able to qualify to not pay for the public charge required by the state of Michigan to do so. We're not so rigorous at the MRA. We provide to them every year the state guidelines, 1 person, 2 person, 3 person, 4 person, if they meet that indigent category. We don't ask for your W-2s. We're not going to ask for your W-2s. I don't want to see paychecks. The only thing I really care about is that we make sure that as many children as possible, many of our young adults are participating. That's what makes a difference to me. And if a couple of folks slide in under the radar, I'm okay with that. Because the key is the kids. The other thing we've been doing a lot this year is we have a significant amount of cleats, shin guards, various other things like that. And we have a program where, as we know, our young adults, they go through these shoes so quickly, and they're in relatively good shape. So we have a program where you can just come into the MRI, we take you downstairs, we get you a pair of cleats, and the only thing we ask is, at the end of the year, you bring them back so we can recycle them again with other young adults next year. So, 2 programs which I really do like. Let's see, the funding formula is a formula we've used for a lot of years. It's based upon the registrations from the prior year divided by the budget of the current year, which gets you to a true program fee. So this year our program fee is $232. So approximately every program we run, whether it's a baseball, soccer, t-ball, it's about $232 to run that particular program. Manistee Township, if you divide 82 by the program fee, that comes out to $19,024. We have always asked in the past that we ask our participating municipalities, of which Manistee Township has been a great partner for years with the MRA, to pay between 50 and 55%, which equates to $9,500 to $10,400 roughly. You know, we leave that entirely up to you to decide. Without you, we could not operate. We are funded by 3 different sources, primarily. We are funded by our municipal funders, Manistee Township, Raleigh Charter Township, Brown Township, Bear Lake Township, City of Manistee, and Manistee County actually still provides funds too, which we're greatly appreciative of. And we're funded by that. We're funded by also sponsors. We go out each year and we ask for sponsors. Those are the same folks that everyone has. It's everyone from PCA to high tech down. You know, we ask for sponsorships, and our community is so giving always towards that, as well as program fees from our young adults. Traditionally, the program fees are less than 15 to 20% of the overall program fee. That's all we ask for, and then when you throw in the scholarships, it probably drops it down a little bit more. So I would be happy to try and answer any questions. This is my 21st year on the board. It's my goal that once we get the executive director and the program manager, we've got Dursa, once we hire a program manager, I look forward to slide back out into retirement and back onto the board. John?
Mitch, you've mentioned numerous activities. Several years ago, there was something going on with seniors. I don't know if it was cards, aerobics, I got no idea what it was. But there were senior activities also. Is that still
We haven't had them for a couple of years, but the goal is to bring back senior activities. We've heard everything from, the Pickleball Association has approached us to participate in that. I think that's a natural fit. We've been asked to look at chair volleyball. I didn't know there was such a thing as chair volleyball. But I just didn't know. But I
do that.
think, I think the mission is for everyone, and I think we need to look at that, because if you look at the demographics of our county, we are older than the state of Michigan as a whole, considerably, probably about 10 years. And we are getting older even more so every year. We're seeing a lot of the home sales that Commissioner Johnson was referring to. It'd be really interesting to know how many of those home sales were from retired individuals moving into Manistee compared to young adults buying them. We know what that is. We know what those numbers are. So I think we're going to need more senior programming in the future. I'm hoping that we can partner with the Senior Center and various other entities like that to try and help provide some programming. It's the market. to put it kind of, but we've always, our bread and butter has always been youth sports. It always has been, and tonight I think it's easier, quite frankly. I think I could put a budget together easier than trying to coordinate a soccer game. I'm struggling with that, but figuring it out as I go. But we had probably tonight. We probably had 3 teams. We have 4 leagues going on, 3 and 4-year-olds, kindergartners, so 3 and 4, kindergartners 5, 1st and 2nd, 6, 7, and 3rd through 5th. And I'm going to guess we've got 300 to 400 all signed up. you know, among everything. And then we have soccer club. We have 2 soccer clubs, which are traveling teams that they go all over the place. So it's just really kind of cool to be there and watching the kids play. Even though my kids are 27 and 23, it's still pretty neat watching the young kids out there playing.
Questions? Any questions, Mitch? I think if this is accurate, our contribution last year for 2021 was $12,000, is that correct?
Yeah.
No?
No, our last contribution was 11.2, and that ended at June 2020.
Oh, okay.
We have not had a contribution during COVID times. We haven't had invoices or something put together to be able to do it with. So we are currently without an active contribution to the MRA.
You do have a budget for
We do have the budget for it. So
in this year, this fiscal year.
we would have the option of doing a partial funding for what's left of this year. Historically, we paid in quarters. We really can't go backwards, but we could fund April, May, and June of this fiscal year if we wanted to, and then look at a new contribution starting the 1st of July through the next fiscal year. That would become part of the upcoming budget that we're about to work on.
So for the remainder of our fiscal year, that would approximately be $3,000?
If you were
Yeah.
looking on a $12,000 a year, that would be correct.
Yeah.
Yes. We could motion to do that for this part of this year if you wish to.
I would make that motion, and then can I make the motion and follow it with the upcoming budget?
Well, how much do you want the upcoming one to be, and,
Yes, you may. I mean, yes, you may.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Well,
It's
that's
a dollar,
motion.
it's a dollar figure.
I'm
It's a
sorry.
dollar figure
Yeah,
for the next fiscal year.
I make a motion to give the MRA $12,000, $2,000 out of the current year's budget, and $10,000 out of the upcoming budget. Is that close to right?
No.
No. $3,000.
I didn't know how to tell you.
That's what I said.
That's what you meant to say.
Oh, okay.
so you have a motion that needs support.
Is there support in the motion as presented? Is there support in the motion as presented? Is there support as the motion presented? If not, the motion fails.
I'll make the motion that we allocate $3,000 from this year's budget to MRA and a $10,000 for next fiscal year. No?
No.
I thought that's
3 and 12.
3 and 10.
Well,
12?
2 and 10.
And the reason I say that
Okay,
is
so
because
we have an issue in that we really can't spend funds out of next year's budget until we have a budget. But we can spend this year's funds just fine. We can revisit the allocation for the MRA for next year, correct me if I'm wrong,
In July.
as soon as we have a budget passed for next year.
Which will be June.
To do that, because then we decided in the budget, that when we passed the budget and we put the allocation.
We've always done it by
So then
motion in the past, but
we need a motion though to.
you rescind your motion?
I do.
Okay, so you don't want to do this year either?
Yeah, but we got
Yes.
You gotta start with a new motion now. Okay.
So we make a motion that we'd like to spend $30,000 out of the current budget for the MRA. Period.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
That, yes.
Your motion? Your
Second.
Been moved, supported, that we contribute $3,000 to satisfy our, it's not an obligation, but to contribute $3,000 out of this fiscal year budget, which ends June 30th?
Correct.
Yeah. To the MRA, with next year's allocation to be discussed at budget meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Mitch, for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
You should expect discussion on that issue at our budget hearing.
Would you like me to send you an invoice for the $3,000? Is that, I haven't done this before, so I just want to make sure I'm doing what you would like for me to do.
I would like an invoice for the $3,000.
Yes, ma'am?
And then I'd also like, if you will, a blank invoice contract type thing
Yes,
for
ma'am?
the upcoming year. It
Perfect.
doesn't have a dollar amount in it,
Okay.
and that way we can complete that when we get through our budget process and forward that back to you.
Do you like quarterly payments? Is that what works best for the township?
If we could have the option of either or, the board can
Absolutely.
decide what they want to do when they get to budget time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your support of the MRA. I know the kids appreciate it.
Well, thanks for your time putting it. I'm sure you're not overpaid, so thanks.
No, but it is awful fulfilling that, or whatever that pay is.
I bet
It's awful fulfilling that, you got more time in retirement, so.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you, man.
It's nice to see everyone. Have a great evening. Thank
You
you.
as well.
Thank you.
I'm going to alleviate from the agenda as proposed. We have two representatives here from the pickleball group who would like to discuss their plans for the facility up here on top of the hill. If you could give us an abridged version, please.
Bob, and I'm Pat Beach. I'm currently president of the Manistee Pickleball Association, and of course, we just talked about seniors. Thank you very much. Well, you know what? It was about 4 years ago that we approached for a grant through the Manistee Community Foundation, and of course, the support of the township and many others, many other individuals, and I think the tribe and banks participated in providing money for the court, which is beautiful. Obviously, we've done a great job, all of us, and catch yourself on that. Today I'm coming because several of the members, of course, approached me and said, hey, what about that grant on April the 15th? Could we apply for it? This was a week before. And I'm like, So what I did is, my husband was standing right there and he said, I'll help you. I thought, oh gosh. So then I called you up, and Dennis, and you said, well, the board meeting's on Thursday. I said, well, the grant needs to be in by Friday. So I called them up, and they told me that there is a smaller grant that can be submitted at any time for $5,000 from the Community Foundation, Manistee Community Foundation. So that put a light bulb in my head. I think we can do that, but I think 2 or 3 days to get a grant in was just too much. So basically, we did a grant inquiry, and I don't know if do they have copies, Dennis, of that?
No, they didn't.
Okay. And the grant inquiry, we asked for bleachers for spectators. If Bob and I were talking, and he thinks that somewhere down the line, we will have some tournaments. And there will be people, Ludington has tournaments already, and some of the other places do too. And it brings in a lot of people, and it brings in a lot of money for those tournaments. So the bleachers would be an addition for that, plus spectators that come to watch pickleball. Now, pickleball, I just got the information from Margaret Zimmerman, who lives in Arcadia, and she's kind of the all-around person who does newsletters for the county. She said we have over 470 people who have participated in pickleball in the county. Now, that doesn't mean they were from the county and stayed in the county. They could have been from Beulah, they could have been from Ludington, they could have been from Manistee, or they could be people who are just coming on vacation. We've had people drop by here that were, had their RVs over at that park in East Lake, and they came over here to play pickleball. It's very interesting, it's very cool. So anyway, in Manistee, we've grown to over 100 individuals that are playing pickleball. And I don't have the exact amount because every time we have a pickleball game at the Armory, new people come. So we're trying to keep track of it, but there are over 100 in Manistee that come to pickleball. So that's kind of neat to see that growing. It is one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. And one of the trends we're seeing, which I think Mitch could agree if he were here, is that a lot of young people are now getting into the sport. And some of the most, how would you say, tournament-wise people are 30, 20, 30-year-olds that are getting into the sport. So we will probably see this really take off even more than it has in the near future. So we asked for bleachers, and this is all in the grant. This has nothing to do with anybody providing any money. This would come through the grant. Storage shed, because we have a lot of things that, blowers, what are those, brooms, balls, you know, we got a lot of stuff that we'd like to be able to store in there in case we need to blow the cord off. We don't have to run home and find somebody who has a blower to come out and help us. So we'd like a storage shed. And I don't know, were those pictures given to them of what sort of what it looks like?
Yeah, no, they didn't get any of that.
So anyway, the storage shed would be similar to this. I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but something like that. And then the blower, obviously you've seen these. And then we decided that one of the things that we would need if we're going to have all these people coming to our courses, probably a tutor pickleball machine that would teach some of these players how to play different types of strokes with their pickleball paddles. And this machine would be available for beginners, but also for those who wanted to improve their skills. So that would be another one. And then a lot of people that I talked to just recently, because I kind of take a poll sometimes, and they said, you know, it'd be nice if we had a little bit of social time when we play pickleball. And I said, well, you know, okay. And they said, it'd be nice if we had a grill out there, that we wouldn't have to lug our gas grill out to the facility. So we thought we'd put in the park-style charcoal grill. Just one for, you know, ourselves, but also anybody who wanted to use it. And then, let's see, bleachers, storage, blowers, grill. All right, I think I got it all. And then the very last thing is what I thought would be neat, because I'm a flower person, is when you come up to the facility where that wood picket fence is, be neat if we could landscape it a little bit, make it pop, so that when people go by it, just like some of the places along 31 that have improved their curb appeal, we could make that pop, and people would say, what is that? You know, and they look over there and they see pickleball, you know. So it'd be a way to encourage people to look at what we have over there, but also improve that area right there, and just not have a picket fence, so maybe have some, what were you talking about?
Just like some small raised beds or something.
Yeah,
Just kind of go along here
right,
and just kind of polish it off just a little bit.
yeah, and maybe even have a little bit of color in there, you know. Yes,
With your grill, don't forget your picnic table.
well, we do have a picnic table there. A man, what is it, I'm trying to think, Steve Black
Yeah.
donated a table, excuse me, not a pickle table. So we do have one, there have been some donations coming along for different things, and so that's kind of cool that we get people donating. And of course, Bob has been instrumental in providing, well, we purchased it, but he's providing a steel structure inside the pickleball court for shade, so that when people are in there playing, they're not melting away, because there's no shade inside that court. So he has put together with, what firm was it that you worked with on that, Bob?
Harper.
His firm, see? And they put together these steel posts and then we're going to have a shade that's attached to it that'll only go out 4 feet, so it won't interfere with the pickleball, but it will make it so that that particular area will be cool when people are playing. And that was paid through us. We paid that out of our account. So basically, we're looking at $5,000, and I think that I'm not sure if it'll go through, but I'm going to try. And what I'm going to do then is, they said we have to pay 10% or we have to pitch in 10%, which is $500. So for us, that would be fine. We have enough in our budget to do that. You guys want to help? That's fine too. Anyway, that's kind of it. And the grant can go in anytime. I'd like to get it done by the end of May. Because we'll be back from vacation. Dennis is on vacation. And
That's not vacation.
whatever you're doing. And anyway, we'll be back and then I can get this together and get it in by June and hopefully get a reply from them that it's going. And then we'll need your help here.
So for the board's explanation or whatever, Pat is presenting this because Manistee Township has to apply for a grant on their behalf.
Correct.
That's why she.
We are a recreational nonprofit. We are not the 501(c)(3) or whatever it is. We are not that, so we have to apply through you to get that grant. So that's why I'm here today.
So in the future, we would have to pass a resolution to support it. You know, if the first stage is to see, I think the foundation will let you know if you should continue further
Correct.
or if you should not continue that.
Correct.
And at that point, we would have to draft a resolution. But this board would be the applicant on behalf of the pickleball.
It's sort of like what you guys did 4 years ago, which you were in resurfacing. We did a Manistee County Foundation grant then too.
We did, yes.
This board is the applicant, but you or your committee will do the,
Work.
We'll do the legwork.
okay.
We'll put it together and
Right.
with the help of Dennis. And I have to say thank you guys. When we started this pickleball court, I know you guys were enthusiastic about it, so thank you very much. It's really worked well. And number 2 is Dennis has always been there to go with me. He has. Anytime I've called him up, he's gotten back to me quick and told me yay or nay on things. So thank you, Dennis.
Okay. Thank you because that facility is maintained by you people. Our maintenance staff does put up and take down the nets and things like that and help with moving furniture around and stuff like that. But you people are the ones that take care of that as if it was your own. So thank you for that.
I'd like to add that what Pat's trying to say here too is that, part of this thing, especially out front or whatever, is just kind of more of a beautification to the whole thing, which adds to the whole park area there too. I mean, it's, we'd like this stuff to be able to put money to be able to buy the stuff, but it still is going to be all hands on deck as far as our players and our association goes to put it in and get it put together. And so we just thought of a lot's happened that we've already saw, with the new fencing and so on, it looks really great, but just adding a little bit more to the beautification of the whole area.
Wonderful. Thank you. We all benefit from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say, the volunteers have been great coming out and cleaning up the courts, with the, and all the things that people have done, to pitch in and help. So.
And thanks for getting that stuff, I see they're all up now too.
Yeah, I asked them this morning, they went up there right away.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Thank you. Any questions for the group?
So it's coming around the bend. Let's see it a little bit.
The next item is the playground power plant grant application. This application is for $3,500 to our insurance group, our power plant insurance group. A resolution from this board has to go with that application. I'm submitting a $3,500 application for. Okay, 32. That's all right. No, that's fine. What that money would buy a perimeter material to go around our playground up there, to identify the playground surface and to put sand, bark, chips, whatever, in the enclosure so that it stays in the enclosure and it defines the playground area for safe, I think they call it fall protection. But the first step would be to put this border up. So I would entertain a motion to pass resolution, what resolution number is it? I'm sorry.
It will be 2022-03.
Entertain a motion to pass resolution 2022-03 for submission to our insurance company for a grant for $3,200 for playground improvements.
I'll make that motion, and this is,
I'll second.
It's been moved, supported that we pass resolution 2022-03 for submission to our Par Plan insurance company for $3,200 for playground improvements. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Thank you very much.
Roll call.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Call roll,
I'm
please.
sorry. Jenkins,
Yes.
Taylor is yes, Mr. Fino,
Yes.
and Mr. Dons.
Yes.
Mr. Berquist.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the, you've all received a copy of the correspondence from the fire department with the resignation of the fire chief. I asked the membership as well to follow past procedure and select their own chief. I didn't think that it was our position to tell them who their chief was going to be, but rather elect their own chief, and they have elected Mr. Joe Circa as their fire chief, as presented in the letter before you.
For 1 year. So, did I read that right?
Oh, yeah, that's what they wanted to do. They're still, they're trying to get their arms around everything and gather everything up. Because the resignation was kind of sudden,
Right.
and that chief carried a lot of responsibilities with him, and they're trying to distribute that out evenly amongst the group. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Joe Circa as fire chief of the Manistee Township Fire Department.
I'll make the motion to appoint Mr. Circa to the fire chief position of the Manistee Township Fire Department.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved, supported that we appoint Joe Circa as the fire chief of the Manistee Township Fire Department. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Being done, carried. Thank you. Planning commission appointments. Mr. Ed Sang and Mr. Charlie Shalo, their appointments expire at the end of this month. I have contacted both the individuals. Both individuals are interested in continuing to serve on the planning commission for a 3-year term. How did you want to do these, one at a time or both together?
One at a time.
One at a time. I would entertain a motion to reappoint Ed Sang as a planning commission member with his term to expire in 2025.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Mr. Singh to the planning
Is there a second?
I'd second.
Been moved, supported that Ed Singh be reappointed to the planning commission for a 3-year term. Any discussion? Roll call. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. I have also contacted Chuck Shadle, Charles Shadle, who asked him to serve on the planning commission for a 3-year term, and he has accepted that. I would entertain a motion that Charles Shadle be appointed to the planning commission for a 3-year term expiring in 2025.
I'll make a motion to appoint Carl Shadle to the planning commission board for a 3-year term.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
It's been moved, supported that Charles Shadle be appointed to the planning commission for a 3-year term. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. Thank you. Zoning Board of Appeals has 2 vacancies. Mr. Barry Elder currently serves on that board. I believe he's the chairman, isn't he?
Yes, yes, yes.
He's the chairman of that board. I have contacted Mr. Elder, and he's expressed interest in remaining on the board. So I would entertain a motion that Barry Elder be reappointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term expiring in 2025.
I'll make a motion to appoint Barry Elder to zoning board of appeals.
I'll support it.
It's been moved, supported that Barry Elder be appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term expiring in 2025. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. We have an application from a gentleman by the name of Stephen Dabrowski. He lives on Lake Shore Road. Well, I don't know, his address escapes me. And he's expressed interest in being on the Zoning Board of Appeals. 6350 Lake Shore Road. You've all received his application. He appears to be well qualified. I don't know what the qualifications would be, but he has quite a resume there. I think he would be Mr. Elder suggested he would be an asset to the board. We do have a vacancy, and he has applied. So, what are your thoughts?
Who's the vacancy on the board?
Todd.
Todd Mills.
Todd is leaving.
Moving out of the township?
Well, he's currently going to school in Midland, I believe. And he's very busy, and he's going to construct a house in Untitled Township, and he was asked to.
So he doesn't want to continue this?
Correct.
Who are the other members?
Myself and Barry.
And Ernie is an
An
alternate.
alternate. Ernie's an alternate.
Who is?
Ernie.
Ernie Hartwell.
Oh, right, okay.
So this is for a permanent position?
Yes.
Or whatever, a 3-year position?
Yeah, people aren't knocking the doors now.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Bring them in.
Pardon me?
Bring them on. Make a motion to accept the applicant for the,
Zoning Board of Appeals
yes.
for a 3-year term.
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved, supported that Stephen, I believe I'm pronouncing this correctly, Dabrowski, be appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term expiring in 2025. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. I will get a hold of Mr. Dabrowski and suggest to him what the outcome.
Yeah. coming up shortly.
We will on the packet and come this one.
Okay, you want that?
It's ready to go.
There's one more item that's not on your agenda, that's a last minute thought that I worked on this morning. In front of you is resolution 2022-04, is that correct? That resolution is to apply for funding from the Manistee County ARPA allocation for help with the purchase of a rescue vehicle for Manistee Township Fire Department. Do I need to explain any of this or whatever? Or maybe Jeff, you could help me with it? Or Manistee County has been allocated a lot doesn't sound like a very professional word, but they have some funds available. And they're looking for suggestions as to how to spend that money. If suggestion is a word to use.
Well, we're seeking grant applications. So we put it out there for public to apply. There's funds available, so everybody's aware. We're going to have 2 cycles. I don't know the date of the final cycle. The deadline for this cycle is this Friday, the 22nd, to have an application in. And I will also tell you, we've got just shy of $4.8 million from the ARPA funding. For those that aren't aware, ARPA is American Rescue Plan Act, and we received half of that funding so far. We've got about $2.25 million worth of in-house stuff that we need to do at the county, and the rest we're seeking suggestions on, if you will. And not to say what we're going to fulfill all our desires either. I don't know. We just don't know. We've posed the question out there to the entire county. We'll see what comes in. We'll see what allocation is. You only can apply for the same thing once. I shouldn't say that. If it's awarded, you can't. If it's awarded, you can't apply for the second time for another phase 2, if you will. So it's kind of a one and done.
Something different?
Pardon?
But you can apply for something.
I'm sure you can apply for something different.
Okay.
But anything else?
No, thank you. So with that comes a resolution from the governing agency. With that application.
2 o'clock.
Yeah.
What is the time frame on that, Jeff?
I'm gonna have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
No pressure.
Now this came from the county, is that correct?
It came from the feds.
Came from the federal.
To the county.
Correct. No different than the same funding that the township received.
So,
Oh,
as a
you weren't out
township
board.
board, we're going to the county
Bigger
for
area.
some of their money to use in the township.
Does our staff, the people that know, or rather, the people that would be using this, even know that this is in the works?
No,
No?
I was made,
Yeah, this is
it's my own fault, but I was made aware of it this morning.
Okay, anyhow, I guess.
But
Or I was
Do we
made
need it
attention
or
this
what?
morning.
Or are we just gonna stick our arms up and say we hope we get it?
well, we know we need to do this. We know we need to replace the vehicle.
Okay,
Okay?
we need to replace the vehicle.
That we know we need to do.
Okay, that's,
You can always ask. It's not a reflection on your representation at the county level if it doesn't come your way. It's just, you're not out by asking anything.
Do you hang around with the court engineers? That's what they say all the time.
No,
You can always
I don't
ask.
answer questions.
No, and I understand the time constraints and things, I just,
Well, you just.
I'd like to have
Yeah,
an opportunity to.
Support the resolution. I'm doing the motion. I'm saying let's adopt resolution 2022-04, allowing us to apply for a grant
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Then move supported that we adopt resolution 2022-04 for a grant application for the fire department to the county ARPA allocation. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Sure. Taylor is yes. Mr. Fino,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs,
Yes.
Mr. Berkowitz.
Yes. Thank you. Anything else I need to attend to? Other than the bills, John?
Oh, not those.
Good thing we did it already.
Need a motion to pay the bills.
Yes, we do.
I'll make a motion to allow the bills paid as presented, along with the incoming bills for the balance of the month.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved supported, we pay the bills for March 1st, to March 31st, 2022, as well as incoming bills. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. Manistee County MTA meeting will meet, well, we did meet on the 20th. Were you there, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything to report from up there?
No.
Okay. Thanks for attending. Zoning Board of Appeals will meet May 10th, 6 p.m. at the Manistee Township Hall, because there is an appeal, correct?
Yes.
Manistee Township Planning Commission will meet on Wednesday, May 4th, 2022 at 9 a.m. here at the Township Hall for special use permit public hearing, followed by the regular meeting at 9:30. The annual trash day will be Saturday, May 19th at the fire station. 14th, I'm sorry, May 14th. Next regular meeting of the Manistee Township Board will be Thursday, May 12th, 2022 at 7 p.m. here at the Manistee Township Hall. Any other comment? Doug?
One thing that I'd like to, and I did put in my report, and should have, local revenue sharing board met. We had more dollars than grant requests. We did not fulfill one of the grant requests. It was $30,000 at Cleon Township to resurface a current Act 51 road. We did not want to get into that process. That road is expected to be abandoned by the road commission to the township for access to a new township hall and fire station. Again, we didn't want to get into that process of resurfacing a current Act 51 road. So having said that, there was more dollars than requests. The two requests from the township, the fire hall was satisfied.
Thank you. Anyone else? Doug?
Hi everybody, Doug. Just want to give you a little bit of an update. We were successful in getting our trust fund application in on March 30th for $300,000. The Friends Group is furiously trying to gather money for their match for the $152,700 that they're trying to go for that. And I also had word from the trust, or from the Minger Foundation, that if we are successful with the trust fund grant, the foundation would prefer running the money through what we've already received a grant. The Friends Group has already received a Minger grant from the foundation of $58,000, I believe. Some $58,184, if I'm not mistaken. And Laura Heinzelman mentioned that she would prefer giving you guys that grant money instead of running it through the Friends Group who originally applied for that foundation grant in 2019.
I believe that would be correct, Doug, because we applied for it. The Friends Group didn't apply for it, we did on behalf of the Friends Group.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. misunderstood that.
That's how it has to, that's how it had to be, written.
Okay. Okay.
So she is, well, of course she's correct, but I mean, because she runs a place, but,
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
yeah, so
So
that,
thank you for that clarification.
I will make contact with her.
Okay.
We haven't received the funds, have we?
The Friends did receive a letter saying that they were awarded that grant, so that kind of surprises me. So I prefer going to you guys if we get the foundation grant, or the trust fund grant, excuse me. Just to have it, because we'll need to hire a contractor through, that trust fund and, a prime professional and all that, so, yeah.
I'll make contact with Laura
Okay.
and make sure and yourself or Sandy,
Yes.
and make sure that, and Diane will be included in that loop because she's the one that's gonna be
And
accepting and
yeah,
distributing.
yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah, so I'm pleased.
okay. But we did get, I was working with Bill to get that in on time because there was a time constraint on that.
There was, and I appreciate everything you did there.
No, that's all right. Bill is very thorough with that stuff.
He
Bill
is.
Sanders is the architect for the project.
Bill Sanders,
He's
yeah,
he wrote the grant application.
he's really good at what he does. So
Thanks, Doug.
keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Anything else? If not, motion to order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second that.
There's a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none? Thank you all very much. Have a nice evening.